This semester is my final semester at ASU. Being a senior, one of my courses is a senior project. Aside from being a full-time student, I also work as a full-time graphic designer at Minuteman Press in Spring, Texas. It's a job that I like, but I intend to leverage my forthcoming degree to try and find a different job that has more advancement potential. But, being that I like the people that I work with a great deal, I don't want to leave them in the lurch when I depart. The perfect solution to both of my problems was to create a printed manual for my position as a graphic designer that I could give to my company when I leave so that any new employee could have a field manual that told them exactly what to do. The key stakeholders in the job are my employers, the owners, the graphic designer who will replace me also. Since the manual is meant to be a bit of a secret since they don't know that I'm leaving, none of the stakeholders could contribute to the job. This is a bit of a problem since I can only rely on the memory of my feelings when I first started the job to guide me in what I should include in the manual. In order to complete the project, which was a solo endeavor, I did utilize some of the techniques from this class. Largely, I focused on breaking the large job into smaller chunks that I can complete on a schedule. For instance, gathering all of the screenshots and illustrations for the manual took a great deal of time. If I had not planned those out, I would not have had enough time to gather them at the last minute. The project turned out well. It certainly could have been better. The biggest problem I ran into was one in which I needed to be at work in order to do important work on the manual. However, I'm so busy at work that I don't have time to focus on anything other than work. Getting screenshots and taking notes became incredibly difficult to squeeze in between the other things I needed to do. I also had several pitfalls which put me behind schedule. One extensive work project, for example, had me working 10 hours at the office, then working more at home, and then not sleeping and going back to the office the next day. The biggest thing I learned from this project was a reinforced need to become someone who follows schedules. As an artsy type, I've always found schedules to be confining, but in reality, a schedule is the thing I need the most to aid in my desire to become a more high-capacity person. I want to be a person with a strong output and a schedule that helps facilitate that. If I had to do the project again, in perhaps different circumstances, I would rely on a team. I think that I personally benefit from being held accountable by others, and I get energized by teamwork. I also have a tendency not to want to let others down, which pushes me further and harder. Working with the team probably would have made a more complete end product and would have allowed me to lean on others when things became very difficult for me going it alone. I would have relied on a team by establishing regular meetings to check in with one another on milestones and to juggle the workload when necessary. Even just using a project management software that allowed for others to see when I was overwhelmed would have been a trigger to give me some support. I think that having a team to rely on would absolutely have changed the project because I would have been less stressed, more productive, and had more fun in the long run. In the future, I do intend to apply many of the things that I learned in this course. During all the case studies, I always chose the young woman who was an entrepreneur and worked alone. I did this because that's similar to the situation I find myself in, often as a designer. In researching about her situation, I found a number of softwares and tools that can help to support an entrepreneur who works alone. I immediately intend to investigate some of those options, such as the tools for managing social media presence. I found this class very beneficial, and I intend to utilize a lot of the strategies that I earned in my quest to become someone who has a stronger output and is a more high-capacity person.